Alberta's Wild Weather Week. Full breakdown for May 20th. 2026 Alberta is having an absolutely wild stretch of weather right now. And honestly, it's hard to know where to even start. We're talking Landspout tornadoes touching down across the province, a massive wildfire burning through rugged foothills country, and severe thunderstorms still lurking on the horizon, all happening at the same time. 7 confirmed Landspout tornadoes have already hit southern and central Alberta in just the past 2 days. 7. And here's the kicker. We're not done yet. More funnel clouds and additional Landspouts are still on the table for today, Wednesday, May 20th. On top of all that tornado activity, a nearly 1,000-hectare wildfire has been keeping crews incredibly busy northwest of Sundre in Clearwater County. Highway 40, the Forestry Trunk Road, is still closed along several stretches because of that blaze. Bottom line, this is shaping up to be one of the most intense and active weather periods Alberta has seen in all of 2026 so far, and there's a whole lot to unpack. So let's not waste any time. Here is your complete Alberta weather breakdown for Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, the past 48 hours. Extraordinary doesn't even begin to cover it. Let's rewind, because the last 2 days have genuinely been something else for Alberta weather watchers. It all kicked off on Saturday, May 17th, when 3 separate Landspout tornadoes were confirmed across southern and central Alberta within just a few hours of each other. The first one came down near Crossfield, west of Penhold, at 5:10 in the afternoon Mountain Daylight Time. Then, just 19 minutes later, at 5:29, a second touched down northeast of Didsbury. Not long after that, a third was confirmed southeast of Olds at 6:45 that same evening, and there were witnesses on the ground who managed to snap photographs of the twister. Pretty remarkable stuff. Then Sunday rolled around, and Alberta said, "Hold on, we're not finished." On May 18th, 4 more Landspouts were confirmed, pushing the 2-day running total to an incredible 7 verified tornadoes. A Landspout was spotted west of Olds at 12:50 in the afternoon, again with witnesses capturing both video and photos. Later that afternoon, more Landspouts showed up near Garfield at Gull Lake around 5:15 and then near Blackfalds at 5:21. All 7 events were verified by the Northern Tornadoes Project at Western University, working in close partnership with Environment and Climate Change Canada. These folks do incredible work, and it's reassuring to know we have that kind of expert verification happening. Now here is the genuinely good news in all of this. And yes, there actually is some. There were 0 reported injuries and 0 reported damage from any of these 7 tornadoes. All 7 have received a preliminary rating of EF0, which is the lowest category on the enhanced Fujita scale. That said, at least 1 additional report is still being looked into by the Northern Tornadoes Project, so the final count could still creep a little higher. We'll keep you posted on that. So, what exactly is a Landspout tornado? Let's break it down, because these aren't your typical Hollywood-style twisters, and it's really worth understanding what makes them different and what makes them so sneaky. A Landspout is what's called a non-supercell tornado. Unlike the dramatic massive tornadoes you might picture from the Great Plains of the United States, a Landspout doesn't form from a large, rotating supercell thunderstorm. Instead, it develops along what meteorologists call a boundary. Basically, imagine 2 streams of wind coming together from different directions, meeting along a kind of invisible seam in the atmosphere. When that happens under rapidly building cumulus clouds, you know, those big, tall, fluffy clouds that pile up fast on warm, unstable afternoons, the spinning motion can extend down to the surface and create a Landspout, ECC meteorologist. Heather Pimiskarn confirmed that a preliminary radar review showed no lightning at the time of several of these events, which is completely consistent with how Landspouts behave. And here's the really tricky part. Because they're not connected to a rotating supercell, they barely show up on radar at all. That means there are often no watches or warnings issued before a landspout forms. They can appear out of essentially nowhere with little to no notice, and that's exactly what makes them so difficult to prepare for. Environment Canada is very clear about this. Treat every funnel cloud sighting seriously, and be ready to take shelter immediately if one starts to develop nearby. Don't second-guess yourself. Don't wait to see what happens. Get indoors. More on that in a moment. If you found that explanation helpful, drop a comment below. It really helps us understand what kind of content you want more of, and honestly, it goes a long way in helping the channel grow. Even a simple thanks makes a difference. Is the landspout threat over for today? Not quite. Here's the critical question on everyone's mind heading into Wednesday. Are we in the clear? Not yet, unfortunately. A broad upper-level trough, essentially a large dip in the jet stream, is still parked over Western Canada this week, and a mid-level trough is swinging across Alberta today, pushing toward the Alberta-Saskatchewan border through this afternoon and into the evening. That trough is going to enhance atmospheric spin and lift, which are the two key ingredients you need for funnel, clouds, and potential landspout activity if you're anywhere in central Alberta. Today, think the corridor running from Red Deer up through the Edmonton region. You need to stay weather-aware throughout the afternoon and early evening. That same system is also spreading eastward, so Saskatchewan is now in the picture too, with funnel cloud chances extending into that province today and carrying into Thursday as well. Keep the ECCC weather app open on your phone. Follow Alberta Emergency Alert, and if you spot a funnel cloud, report it to ABS Storm at east.gz.ca right away. Every sighting report helps meteorologists build a more complete picture of what's happening in real time. Your eyes on the ground genuinely matter. The wildfire situation, significant, but with some cautious good news. Now let's talk about the other major story dominating the Alberta news cycle right now, because the wildfire situation deserves just as much attention. The standout fire this week has been RDWV 6, burning in Clearwater County northwest of the town of Sundre. This fire was first detected on May 14th, and within just a matter of hours it had grown dramatically, fueled by extremely strong and dry winds. At its peak, RWF 036 was classified as out of control and measured at approximately 1,043 hectares. That's a big fire in notoriously challenging terrain. The rugged foothills country northwest of Sundre is not exactly easy ground for fire crews to work in. Ground operations are genuinely difficult out there. To tackle it, night vision-equipped helicopters were deployed to work through the overnight hours. A significant operational commitment from Alberta Wildfire that shows just how seriously this fire was being taken. As of Monday, May 19th, there is cautious good news. RWF 036 has been reclassified as being held, meaning it is now contained. The emergency alert for the area has been canceled, and the evacuation order for backcountry campers near Highway 734 has been lifted. Clearwater County has confirmed that residents in the surrounding evacuation alert zone can resume their normal activities safely. That is genuinely great news for the folks in that area, and a real credit to the crews who worked around the clock to get it under control. However, and this is important, Highway 40, the Forestry Trunk Road, remains closed along several key sections today. If you're planning any travel through that part of the province, please check 511.alberta.ca before you leave home. Don't assume the roads are open. Always check the bigger wildfire picture. Where does Alberta stand in 2026? Let's zoom out a bit, because the broader wildfire context for this season is worth understanding. As of Tuesday, May 19th, Alberta Wildfire is tracking 21 active fires across the province, and all of them are currently classified as under control. Since January 1st, Alberta has recorded 223 wildfires total. To put that in perspective, At this same point in 2025, the count was 360 wildfires. So there is some real improvement there. And Alberta Wildfire attributes part of that progress to cooler temperatures and increased precipitation helping to moderate fire behavior this spring. And Alberta Wildfire is very direct. About this, now is absolutely not the time to get complacent about wildfire risk. Any shift back toward hot, dry, and windy conditions, and those conditions will return, it's just a matter of when, can push fire danger right back up very quickly across the landscape. We've seen how fast things can change, and to illustrate that point, let's look at how this season actually kicked off. Because May started with a bang. On May 2nd and 3rd, a fire broke out in the summer village of Sandy Beach, northwest of Edmonton near Sturgeon County. That fire destroyed 3 homes and damaged a 4th before crews from multiple jurisdictions managed to bring it under control. No injuries were reported, thank goodness, but families lost decades of memories, belongings, and the places they called home. The human toll on those residents was absolutely devastating, and our hearts go out to everyone affected. Then on May 11th, Alberta Emergency Alert issued an evacuation order for part of Woodlands County near the town of Whitecourt. That fire came within approximately 1 kilometer of Highway 43, a critical corridor connecting central and northern Alberta. Residents were told to leave immediately, and crews worked urgently to protect the West Ridge subdivision just south of the community. It was a tense and frightening situation for the people living there. The dangerous combination driving all this elevated wildfire risk this spring comes down to one word: speed. Alberta's seasonal transition this year happened at a really alarming pace. The province flipped from snowstorms to above-average temperatures in under 2 weeks, giving vegetation almost no time whatsoever to green up and hold moisture. When temperatures spike that quickly, they pull moisture out of plants and grasses at a rapid rate. Relative humidity drops, and when you add wind into that mix, conditions can turn extreme in a matter of hours. Alberta has responded in a big way, deploying more than 550 seasonal firefighters and expanding its night vision helicopter program. 2 brand-new hoist-equipped helicopters have also been added to the provincial fleet, aircraft capable of reaching terrain that ground crews simply can't access on foot. That's a meaningful upgrade in capability, and it's already making a difference. If you're finding this breakdown useful, this is a great moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on your notifications too. That way, when significant weather updates hit, you'll be the very first to know. It genuinely means the world to us and helps us keep putting out this kind of in-depth coverage. The extended forecast. What's coming for the rest of the week, alright? Let's look ahead and talk about what the next several days are shaping up to look like across Alberta. Today, Wednesday, May 20th, the main concern remains the atmosphere being primed and ready for funnel clouds and potential landspout activity. The mid-level trough moving through today keeps thunderstorm chances alive through this afternoon and into the early evening. Central Alberta, the corridor from Red Deer up through Lacombe, Ponoka, and toward the Edmonton region, is the area to watch most closely. Any storms that fire up today could also bring strong wind gusts, small hail, and brief but heavy rainfall in addition to that funnel cloud risk. Conditions are expected to be most active during mid to late afternoon. So if you're planning to be outdoors in central Alberta today, please stay alert and have a plan. Thursday, May 21st, the storm threat shifts decidedly eastward. Saskatchewan becomes the primary focus for funnel cloud risk as the trough pushes toward the Alberta-Saskatchewan border, enhancing spin and lift across the western prairies through Thursday afternoon. For Alberta on Thursday, conditions should begin to stabilize a little, with a gradual easing of the severe weather potential across much of the province. Some welcome relief. Temperatures for the rest of the week will remain variable, Cool overnight lows paired with afternoon highs in the mid to upper teens Celsius. That cooler, more humid pattern is actually genuinely helpful for wildfire suppression crews, reducing the afternoon dryness that tends to drive dangerous fire behavior. The bigger picture. What about summer? Now for the longer range view, because there are some patterns on the horizon that are absolutely worth being aware of as we head deeper into 2026. NOAA has issued an El Niño watch, with an 82% chance of El Niño developing as early as May through July, and a high likelihood it persists right through the winter. For those unfamiliar, El Niño typically brings warmer and drier conditions to the Canadian prairies in summer, which is, to put it bluntly, not great news for wildfire season in Alberta. The North American seasonal fire outlook for June and July 2026 is already showing elevated fire activity risk for parts of Alberta and British Columbia. So while the cooler mid-May weather has given crews a helpful breathing window, the 2026 wildfire season is very much still underway and far from finished. The Rocky Mountain House Forest area alone has already responded to 37 wildfires since January 1st. That number gives you a real sense of the pace and the pressure crews are working under out there.